Darth Vader was one of the most devastating forces the galaxy has ever known. Under command of the Emperor, he searched the galaxy far and wide for any Jedi who had survived Order 66, slaying them and anyone else who dared to defy him or the Empire. His knowledge and connection to the Force were far beyond what most Jedi or Sith could ever dream of, and his skills with a lightsaber would give anyone a run for their money. But perhaps the most terrifying thing about Vader's power was that he hardly scratched the surface of what he could have been had he not fallen to Obi-Wan Kenobi on Mustafar. Before his loss to his former master, the newly pronounced Sith apprentice had been well on his way to becoming the most powerful Force wielder of all time. In Revenge of the Sith, even Darth Sidious, who was in my mind the strongest Force user in the galaxy at that time, claimed that Vader would one day become more powerful than both himself and Master Yoda. But Vader's ascension was greatly hindered due to the injuries he acquired in his duel with Master Kenobi just moments later. So the question for this video is, who was stronger, Anakin Skywalker or Darth Vader? Had Vader defeated Kenobi and avoided nearly burning to death on Mustafar, this wouldn't even be a question. But the reality is that the injuries the Sith Lord sustained on that day presented a great liability for Vader throughout the rest of his life. The functionality of his suit was nowhere near that of a normal human's, and we can see that in the way he walks and in the way he handles his lightsaber. His fighting style is more robotic, as he operates in a shorter range of motion and sometimes resorts to his Force abilities rather than his lightsaber skills. But still, Darth Vader quickly became one of the most feared lightsaber duelists the galaxy had ever known, and rarely came across anyone with even half his skill. He also deflected blaster fire with unbelievable accuracy, sometimes taking out large groups of soldiers without ever striking any of them with his lightsaber. However, with all of that being said, I do believe that Anakin's raw skills with a lightsaber were actually above Vader's due to the advantages of his mobility and athleticism. And this is where things get really interesting, because we know that Vader would have been way stronger than Anakin if he had never gotten injured, but that's not just because of the suit. The terrible burns and the loss of all 4 of his limbs posed another major problem that's easy to miss, and that is that the loss of such a significant percentage of his body actually took away from his connection with the Force. As effective and deadly as a machine can be, a cyborg is no match for the power of the Force. Additionally, the Emperor actually designed Vader's suit to inflict even more pain and discomfort than he already had from his injuries alone. Which, make no mistake about it, those injuries caused a great amount of suffering on their own. In Rogue One, we actually got to see Darth Vader in his Bacta tank, where he did spend a lot of time nursing his wounds. So with all of that in mind, it seems like the level of power held by Anakin and Vader would be pretty similar. But the crazy thing is, these obstacles that should hold Vader back actually benefit him in many ways. Yes, the limitations of his suit and his injuries do hold him back, no doubt. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. But there is a reason Palpatine didn't want his apprentice to be as comfortable as he could. By inflicting even more continuous pain, Vader was forced to draw even further on his anger and hatred, uncovering dark reservoirs he didn't even know existed. The pain he felt every day served as a constant reminder of the Jedi's betrayal, particularly his old master, whom he now hated more than any of the others. And that's not even to mention the loss of Padme, which very well may have fueled his rage more than anything else. What he lacked in flexibility, Darth Vader made up for in his connection to the dark side of the Force. His hate fueled him to rebuild his skill set from the ground up, creating a more versatile fighter. He was slower and less agile, no doubt, but those weaknesses gave rise to new strengths, as Darth Vader's connection to the Force somehow obliterated that of his former self, despite only being half of what he once was in the physical sense. Anakin was naturally gifted. He was younger, and he was probably even the better swordsman if you take Force abilities out of the equation. He had only begun to uncover his full potential, and had he never fallen to the dark side, had he lived out his life as a Jedi or even as a Sith who had not sustained such brutal injuries, there is no doubt that Anakin would have been far more powerful than either version of himself. But that did not happen, and because of that, Darth Vader was the more formidable, more accomplished, stronger wielder of the Force. He was a more wise and patient fighter. He took a more calculated approach to combat and spent his life refining the raw abilities of Anakin Skywalker. So who do you guys think is more powerful? I might run a poll on this topic in a few days to see where you guys stand, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on it in the comments section below, so let me know what you think and tell me why if you like. Please don't forget to leave a like on this video before you go. Have a great day, and may the Force be with you always.